I think that's a very good question. It's a little bit outside of my area of expertise, but I would say if it can cause charging, I think that's something you definitely have to consider and take a look at. Another thing that's very critical for cosmic radiation is its effect on how electronics components and computers, if you will, computing systems actually perform. It can cause actual bit flips and cause your machinery and your electronics to not work properly or to fail prematurely. And so there are several experts at NASA, and I'm sure in Finland and around the world, that have been studying the effects of radiation on electronic components and how do you harden these components to ensure that they operate successfully for long periods of time. How do you protect them? How do you harden them? Other things you have to look at, you're absolutely correct, is how radiation affects material properties. We know UV radiation, for instance, when you're working with plastics in space, has an effect on the material properties. It may cause them to be hardened, it may make them more brittle, it may make them to fail prematurely. And so, once again, here is where you look at all these different effects in the laboratory on Earth as best we can, and then when we can use space as a test bed, we put these materials in space and we take them back to Earth and study their properties. There are several experiments in material studies for space radiation and the effects of UV radiation on materials that were exposed to space outside the space station, and they're brought back to Earth, and then those materials are tested. That's pretty much the best we could do in order for us to predict how well they will perform for extended periods of time.